as always, I try to give as many options as possible. If you'd like to mute yourselves, you can. And if you need me for anything, you can always turn your camera on and wave me down. And that would be fabulous. Okay, let's do Pilates. So this hip mobility thing is like really, really quite awesome. It's hips, it's low back, it's outer thighs. Like it's really, really amazing, especially if you get a lot of stuff. Like I have sort of like a sciatica thing that happens, and it can be quite painful. So it's sort of something that's come up that I think would be nice. If you have a hard time sitting up straight, if you have like a pillow or a blanket you can fold to pop underneath your bum, you can do that, but you don't have to be super, super upright. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna do left foot forward or left leg forward, right leg back. And essentially we're creating two 90-degree angles. So the left thigh is gonna come out in line with the left hip. And then your left knee to ankle is gonna be sort of like parallel to however you're sitting. And then your back leg is gonna be right hip out to right knee, and then same down right knee to right ankle. And you're gonna get to lean back here. So if you have stuff happening with your knees, you're going to modify your range accordingly. But basically what I want us to do is really, really flex out through both of our feet. So maybe your knee is off the floor already, right? It definitely doesn't have to be down. But this front knee, as much as makes sense in your body, can you push that front knee down? So it's going to be quite an active experience. Doesn't have to actually touch the floor. It's only going to go down as much as feels good for you. But remember, you're lifting up and back, yeah? So we're not sort of slouching in, we're up and back. You're going to drive the front knee down, and then as you keep the front knee down, you're going to start to open up through that back thigh. And what you're trying to do is sort of oppose these experiences. So the front knee, the front thigh is like trying to get down to the ground as much as makes sense in your body. The back thigh is trying to open, my foot is flexed, and the upper body is lifting up, and they're like continually, I don't want to say fighting, but competing for your attention. And we're just going to hold that tension for 3, hold it for 2, hold it for 1, and then let that thigh come down. You're going to take a quick, lovely, delicious breath in, and then we're going to go again. So that front knee drives down as much as it can. That back thigh opens up. We're lifting through your chest, and you're going to open for 3. So again, if you've been sitting a lot, or if you have stuff happening in your hips and low back, this is like a really, really, really nice release for that. Bring it back down. One more time. Front knee drives down, back thigh lifts up, and we're opening for 3, opening for 2, opening for 1, and then bring it back down. If you're feeling fancy, you can do like a little windshield wiper over to that other side. Hello for everybody who's joining. We're just doing like a pelvic stability, mobility, hip opener to start. That feels quite nice if you've been sitting a lot. So second side, this time it's right front leg, back left leg, right hip to right knee across to right ankle, 90 degrees, and then left hip to left knee, knee to ankle, 90 degrees as well. Lengthening our chest up and back so we're not crouching in this. And then to start again, you're thinking about that whole right thigh, right knee drilling down into the floor. Feet are flexed here. That stays active. And as you keep drawing the right knee thigh down, we're going to try to open the left side up. And if your body is tight or sore or hasn't been working in these areas as much recently, like this is killer for me too, you might feel different side to side. 2, 1, and then bring it down. Again, as much as I'm saying down to the floor and open up, it's within respect to whatever's feeling like it makes sense in your body, yeah? Front knee draws down, flex out through that foot, lifting the chest up and back, fire through the back bum cheek, open that back thigh. And they're trying to pull away from each other, yeah? So we don't just hang out here. It's like, oh, that front knee is constantly drawing down as the back thigh is drawing back, and we're lifting up through our chest, and then bring it down. 2 more, take a breath in. As you breathe out, draw the front thigh, lift the chest, open that thigh, and they're competing. They're like an elastic band being pulled in 2 different directions. Bring it down. One more time, that bottom thigh draws down towards the floor. Open up through that knee. 3, 2, 1, and then bring it down. You can give your legs a little shake. Such a good one for your hips, yeah? And you could totally do that at home. You don't need me there or anyone there just to guide you. It's really about what feels good in your body. Let's bring ourselves up to standing. I'm kind of feeling inspired with all the spring sunny energy to be up in space a little bit more. So we're going to do some standing work today. To start off, let's do a little bit of mobilizing through the spine. Now we've loosened up through our pelvis, giving your nose a gentle nod down, Gentle bend in your knees, scooping through your belly, melt your spine forward in space, allowing yourself to draw into a very loosey-goosey forward fold, bending through your knees, give your head a little shake yes, a little nod no, and then pushing your feet through the floor, scoop and hollow through your belly, roll yourself all the way back up. Maybe you come up taller than when you started. 2 more like this, breathing in. As you breathe out, nod through your nose, hollow through your belly. You're trying to curl in on yourself, keeping a gentle bend through those knees, melting yourself down to the floor. Enjoying this moment of lengthening through the back body, or maybe not enjoying it. Maybe you're just experiencing it. Push your feet through the floor. Use your glutes, use your hollow belly to pull yourself all the way back up. Little roll through those shoulders. One more time, nodding through the nose, the chin, melting ourselves all the way down, hollowing through that belly. We're gonna let's bend into our right knee, right hand on the floor. Bring your left hand to your chest, and you're just gonna rotate your chest towards the left, and then maybe lift that left arm up if you'd like to, or keep the left hand at your heart center. Little twist here, breathing it in. As you breathe out, bring yourself back to your forward fold, little bend in your left knee, left hand finds the floor, right hand to your heart, start to spiral over to the right. Maybe you reach the right arm up, maybe you keep it close. Taking a breath in here, breathing it out. Back at center, bend through your knees, nice and slowly, fire your glutes, scoop through your belly, roll yourself all the way up until we're standing tall. You're gonna bring your hands to your hips, so we're gonna do a little bit of standing work legs here to start, and then we'll make our way down. Can you step your right foot forward, feet, please? And your left foot is going to come up onto a high half toe. So your heel is lifted. Let's start with our hands at our hips. We're going to bend down through the knees, so if you need to make any adjustments so that you're sort of in that 90-90 again. And then as we stay here, notice if that left hip has dropped down to the floor. Can we pick the left hip up so the hips are level? And then we're just going to push up and stand tall. We're going to inhale down, exhale, push up and stand. Inhale to bend down, exhale to push up and stand. What I've really been enjoying about adding in more standing work as we're trying to find ways to work the full body and not just maybe be on the ground is that when you're doing standing and you're sort of in a split like this, you're always going to get the chance to open up through that back hip. So it's giving us that experience of working muscularly, but also opening, which is sort of what Pilates is about. I shouldn't say sort of. It totally is about that. Bending it down and bringing it up. So as your feet are pressing down into the floor, we're squeezing those legs together. We're thinking about glutes bringing us up in space, bending, and then coming up. And depending how your body's feeling, maybe you want to keep your hands at your hips. Maybe you want to reach them forward. Maybe you want to reach them wide. Maybe you want to reach them up. We're going for 4. So grateful I'm right by a wall. 3. So when I kind of wobble, it's right there. 2. Last one, you're gonna lower and then pause. Stay as low as makes sense for you. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Stay where you are, breathe in, hug those legs together, fire through your butt cheeks. Can you squeeze everything? Breathe it out. If your arms are long, squeeze your arms as well. Breathe it in, breathe it out. One more time, breathe in, and then come all the way up. Nice job. My screen just went blank, so I just wanna make sure my computer just didn't do something funny. Okay, good, we're all still here. Okay, give your legs a little shake, and then let's go the other way. So this time, left foot forward, right foot is back in space. Hands can come to your hips. Square them off as much as you can. Let's bend into that back knee. Adjust if you need, right? We don't necessarily want a narrow space here. We want to think quite wide and low. Check in with that back hip, making sure it's not dropping down to the floor. We want to scoop that back hip up. Squeeze your legs in. Hands can start on the hips, and then we stand up tall. Inhaling to bend, exhaling it up. Now, of course, if that breath doesn't work for you, you're always welcome to breathe however does make sense for you. I like the exhale on the way up because it's reminding me to zip up all my muscles as I stand. Bend and up, down and squeeze. I almost went for a little Legally Blonde bend and snap moment there with my words because I saw like a throwback video to that recently. I was like, oh yeah, get moving, get moving. Squeezing those legs in, keeping your hips as level as possible. And maybe you want to keep your hands at your hips. Maybe you want to reach them forward. Maybe you want to reach them wide. Maybe you want to reach them up. down. Now you get to pick how low you go, right? Because it's your class. So maybe you drop to like hover above that mat, or maybe you keep it a little more compact. Yeah, we're going for 4. Getting the blood moving, 3. Getting the heart pumping for 2. Last one, down and hold. Now, as you hold, we're squeezing the legs in. We're keeping the hips level. We're firing through those glutes. Knees reaching right over the middle of toes. Squeeze everything in your body. If your arms are free of your hips, squeeze them as well. And we're holding for 5. We're holding for 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Let's bring it up and give it a little shake. So we're going to start to add these things together. You're going to come to the center of your mat. Your toes are going to be turned out. We're going to come into sort of like a squat, but not a backward squat, more up and down. We're going to flip between side to side. So we're going to turn to face your right foot, bend down and come up, and then turn back to center. Come down and come up. Turn the opposite way. So left foot forward, right leg back, down and up to center, down and up to the right. Down and up to center, down and up to the left, down and up to center. Is this making sense? Down and up to the right, dip and tall to the center, down and tall to the other side, down and tall. So I'm keeping it slow enough, I hope, that it's like the pattern is making sense. But again, it's your practice. So if you want to kind of speed it up and move through it a little quicker, you totally can. I'm going to keep it slow, down and up. You can move at your pace, right? Down and up. Getting a little bit warmer, especially if you ran yesterday. Down and up. This will feel pretty great in your legs. Down and up to the right. Arms, I'm sort of just letting them be wherever feels good out of the way. Could be at your chest. They could be up. Right? Whatever's going to feel good for you. Wherever you are, we're going to pause the next time you hit your left foot forward. I'm going to wait here for you. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Start to maybe get into your deepest, lowest possibility here. Keep squeezing those legs together. Remember, arms can be wherever you need them. We're going to pulse the legs down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Find center, pause, 8 pulses here for 8. Squeeze those legs in for 6, 5. Keep it breathing. 4, chest is calm, free, shoulders calm. 2, last one here, don't move except to turn to the right so we stay low. Hug those legs in, find your lowest possibility. Anchor through the arms and legs. Little pulses with those legs. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, squeeze your glutes. 2, stay low, come back to center, little pulses here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, squeeze it in. 2, last one, bring it all the way up. Give your legs a little shake. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale down. We're gonna turn ourselves so that you're facing down your mat, kind of like a bit of a lane way. We're gonna roll down again, but we're gonna start to walk out and just feel what it feels to weight bear a little bit, yeah? So let's take an inhale to be here. And as we breathe out, starting to calm our hearts down, little bend in the knee, rolling yourself all the way down to the floor. Nice and calm, and truly, truly, I mean it when I say bend the knees. They don't have to be straight. And then we're just gonna walk ourselves out into like just a little quadruped. Give your wrists a little zhuzh, maybe a little circle around them. See how they feel. And then tucking your toes, lift your knees. Can you bear walk yourself back into your forward fold? So you kind of like contemporary dance, scoot yourself backwards a little bit. From our forward fold, push through the feet. Roll yourself all the way up. Maybe give those arms a little bit of a stretch. And then we go back down, nodding the nose, bending through the knees, scooping through your belly, letting your head be nice and heavy, rolling yourself down. You're gonna walk forward. Maybe you drop to your knees or maybe you don't. Maybe your knees stay hovered. If you're hovering, you're holding a knee hover. If you wanna give your wrists a little rock and roll, you can. And then we all make our way back over towards our feet, walking hands to toes, find that forward fold, push through the floor, roll ourselves all the way up. Little roll of the shoulders. 2 more like that. Inhale, maybe your arms sweep up, whatever feels good for you. Nodding through your nose, through your chin, rolling yourself down. We're letting the weight of our spine curl in on itself as we bend through the knees and forward fold. When you're ready, walking forward, maybe you walk forward and do a knee hover. Maybe you walk into a quadruped. Maybe you walk all the way out into a plank or a kneeling plank. And wherever you are, you have 4 breaths here. Inhaling it in. Exhale out through your mouth. Glutes are on if you're planking. If you're kneeling, planking. If you're in your knee hover, you're in your knee hover. If you're quadruped, you're quadruped. Yeah, breathing in. Breathing out. Trying to show all the options in one time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one, breathe it in. If you're in a full plank, bend your knees, walk yourself back. We all meet in like a quadruped or knee hover, and then we walk all the way back so that our hands find our feet, keeping a bend in the knees, keeping our head heavy as we roll all the way up. So lots of options there for you. Yeah, let's do one more. Maybe you roll the shoulders, sweep your arms up. When you're ready, nod your chin, start to bow yourself down. Gentle bend in your knees, hollowing through your belly as you go. Melting, 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 melting. Walk yourself forward. So you have knees on the floor with your wrists on the floor. Give yourself a second to weight bear. Knees hovered in a bit of a quadruped. Knees down in a kneeling plank. Thighs up in a full plank. Let's be here for 5. Let's be here for 4. Let's be here for 3. Now, if you're in a plank or a kneeling plank, your glutes are so on here, please. Last one. This time, drop down to your knees wherever you are. Walk your hands back and just take a little bit of a child's pose. Take a breath in here. Slide out through your mouth. Breathing it in. Breathing it out. We're going to bring ourselves all the way up. I'm going to spin around so that my mic is close to you. We're going to come all the way down onto our bellies. All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. As you make your way down, can you set your feet up so that they're a little bit wider than your hips? So not mat distance, not squeezed together, just sort of like a little bit apart. And you're going to rotate your thighs so that your knees look away from each other. Yeah, so there's a rotation here. Can we zip up through the thighs, turn those muscles on, and fire up through your glutes? So our lower body is fairly active here, yeah? Now just check in with yourself. Notice if your hips are like really heavy, heavy down into the floor, which for most of us is where the happy place for our hips will be. And we actually want to think about doing a little bit of an ab scoop so that you have a little more pubic bone awareness there, yeah, as opposed to hip bone. You want to feel both. You definitely don't want to lose your hips completely, but we don't want to be weight bearing there. We're going to keep this calm to start, and then it's going to build. So your hands are going to arrive so that your elbows are down and your hands are next to your shoulders. They won't be right under, right? Because your elbows would lift that way. So they're sort of next to them. And then you're going to look down. Now I'm going to look sideways so you can hear me, but you're going to look down. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Just sort of let that excitement of getting the blood pumping exist in your body, but know that your breath always has control. Looking down at the floor, you're going to start to hug your hands down towards your feet. So they're not going to lift off of the mat, but they're going to squeeze down, like really, really draw down. And as they do that, can you roll your shoulder blades onto your back and really draw your shoulder blades towards each other? So now we're quite wide through our collarbones, but we're not squishy through the tops of our shoulders. Reaching through those legs, you're going to take a breath in. And as you inhale, can you just sort of slide your nose forward like you're rolling a marble away from you? And then as you breathe out, your upper body is going to start to lift up. You're going to come fairly high. My ribs are still down, but it's not a low hover. Yeah, I'm lifting up, which means your pelvis might want to collapse. So we want to try to keep fighting for that pubic bone. Take a breath in here. And then exhale, draw down, but keep hugging those hands down to your feet. If that was a lot of information, I totally know. Don't worry, we're doing it all again. At the bottom, make sure you don't totally relax here. Yeah, I'd like us to stay active, especially through the lower body. When you're ready, you're hugging the hands down towards your legs. You're rolling your shoulders onto your back. You do a little gentle nose nod forward like you're rolling something away. And then keeping that posture, you start to lift your chest out and up. And as it goes out and up, you're still trying to keep pubic bone down, wide through your shoulders and hugging the hands down to your feet. Take a breath in here. And then exhale, gently roll, melt down. Legs are still active, pubic bone still active, belly still active. On an inhale, keep hugging hands to feet, roll shoulder blades onto your back, little nose roll forward, and then we lift up. And as you're lifting, because your head is connected to your spine, eventually your gaze is going to be sort of out and forward. Yeah, it's not straight forward though, out and forward. Take a breath in here. And then exhale, melt it down. I'm hoping you're starting to feel things happen through your back muscles. Inhale, you're hugging heels or hands down to heels, shoulder blades on your back, feeling to that pubic bone, little head nod, and then we bring ourselves up and forward. Take a breath in here, and then we come all the way down. 2 more times. Hands hug down, shoulder blades on back, little head nod forward, glutes and pubic bone on, lengthening up as we go. Inhaling it here. Exhale to melt all the way down. 1 more time. Hands draw down, collarbones are wide, little nod forward, bringing yourself out and up. Take a breath in, and then come all the way down. Allow your cheeks to find the mat, doesn't matter which one. You can give yourself a little wiggle now. So that was working into our extension with some support of our arms. We're gonna take that support away and keep it a little bit lower. And then we're gonna add all kinds of super fun arm things here. When you're ready, setting yourself back up. So your legs this time are going to come more parallel. They can be squeezing together. Now the rule sort of here is if your legs are squeezing together, it's gonna tip your pelvis to your pubic bone more, or sorry, to your hip bones more. So if you have the strength to stay towards your pubic bone, squeeze your legs together. If you know your low back sort of bothers you, keep them a little bit apart. But toes are down. Now we're totally parallel now. You're gonna take your hands and interlace your fingers so that your forehead and hands connect. So now my hands are up. Yeah, they're not down by my shoulders. Take a breath in and take a breath out here. And just start to feel all those home base things. So pedicure side of your foot, toenails are on the floor, quads are zipped up, glutes are on, our belly is on here. We're feeling a little bit of tension across our fingers and making sure that our shoulders aren't squeezing up to our earlobes, they're on our backs. Taking a breath in, we're going to exhale to hover, but this time we stay low. Upper body, fingertips, elbows, shoulders are just coming up. So we're not as far up as we just were, yeah? We're much lower. We're more parallel to the floor. Take a breath in here, and then melt it down. Take a second at the bottom to regroup. Take your breath in. As you breathe out, keep drawing into that belly. Lengthen yourself out and up. And we're trying to target right across the low shoulder blade tip area. So like right in the middle of our backs. Take a breath in, and then exhale it down. Few more like this. Taking an inhale to really feel all those home base things. Toes are connecting down. Quads and glutes are on. Taking your inhale. And when you're ready, lengthen out. And I really do think out and up. Almost as if there's like a board underneath me. And the work is like energetically out and underneath me. Take a breath in, even though I feel it behind me. Gently melt it down. 2 more. Toes connect. Legs are on, shoulder blades are sliding, right shoulder blade across my back to left rib, left shoulder blade across to right rib, and when you're ready, you lengthen out and up. Stay there, breathe in. Exhale, gentle melt down. 1 more time, keep all of those things turned on. When you're ready, little float out and up. So you're gonna stay here for a second for me, and as you're staying, can you notice if you've lost home base? Home base still being that the toes are connecting down, the quads and glutes are still on. We're thinking more flat to the floor. So if your low back is bothering you, notice if you've come too high, right? Keep it low. Sending our work to our pubic bone. You're still totally holding here. If you'd like to add a bit more spice, you're gonna reach your arms out like you're doing the YMCA and hold it there for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, melt it down. Let your cheek find the mat. If it feels like your body wants to go for a bit of a stretch, you can take yourself into a shell stretch or child's pose. So we're working on opening up through the front of the body here, right? And strengthening our back posture muscles, which is why it's nice to play with a range. But ultimately to hit that mid back, we have to stay a little bit lower. All right, it's gonna get exciting. Bringing ourselves down. So your left hand is going to come underneath your forehead this time. Your right hand is going to come down beside your right hip. So you're sort of like halvesies. Left fingertips to forehead, right hand to right hip. Toenails are connecting down into the floor. Now, once we get going, I'm going to give you options if you feel like you need support. Yeah, if doing a halvesies doesn't feel good. Toes are down, quads are on, belly is stable. Glue the fingertips to the forehead, and as you inhale, roll your right shoulder blade onto your back. This is going to lift when you're ready, your right arm up, palm faces in. As you do that, when you're ready, can you float your body up into that hover? So you're in that low hover, but just the left fingertips are at your forehead. Turn your right hand into a fist and squeeze the right arm. Like, oh, so tight. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. You have to keep a little bend in your elbow so you don't hyperextend it, but you're squeezing nice and tight. So this is our home base here. Toes down, quads are connected, glutes are on towards our pubic bone, belly and ribs are drawing in, left fingertips are hovered with your upper body, right arm beside you. As you inhale, take the right arm, sweep it out into the shape of a T, keep it moving until you hit the YMCA shape above your ears, and then exhale, sweep it down. Inhale to reach it out, over and up, and then exhale, bring it down. Now, keep going. If this is feeling like way too much load on your back and you don't love it, that left hand can come down to the floor. So it's working like a bit of a kickstand here for you, yeah? And that's going to take the pressure off of your back having to do the work. So pick where it makes sense for you. You could also bring that left hand beside your left shoulder, or it's up here. Exhale, squeeze. I hope that gave everybody an option that works for them. Exhale, squeeze it down. We're going for 2. Exhale, squeeze. One more time. Squeeze it beside you. Take that right arm and open it out into a T and then pause. Keep reaching that right arm out, like as if you kind of want to punch over to the right, but we don't. We stay nice and square. That right arm is going to do little circles for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, last one, other way, for 6, for 5, for 4. Remember, you're squeezing that whole right arm. For 3, for 2, last one, take the right arm down to the right hip. You're not done. Inhale, little baby bend to the right elbow, and then exhale, squeeze the right tricep. Inhale, little baby bend, and then exhale, squeeze. Inhale, little baby bend, exhale, squeeze. Little baby bend, exhale, squeeze. We're going for 4. We're going for 3. Squeeze. We're going for 2. You got this. One more time. Reach the right arm. Squeeze the right arm as you pulse it up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Relax. If you'd like to, push yourself back and take a child's pose. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Get rested. If you'd like to take a little walk with those hands over to the left, you can, and just stretch that right side body. I'm going to flip myself on my mat so that you can see my left arm moving, but you can stay where you are. Okay. Ooh, so we're all feeling back, right, across that mid-band, definitely down through your lats. We have core still supporting us here, right? We're not pushing our belly ribs into the mat as we work. It's like we have puppet strings behind us lifting us up. Making your way back down onto your bellies. Finding toenails connecting down to the floor. So remember, you get to pick. Legs together is generally more challenging. You have to work a lot harder to stay out of collapsing into your hips. Hip distance apart or a little bit apart is a great option to kind of help with that. This time, your right fingertips are coming to your forehead. Your left hand is going to come down beside you. That arm is in a fist, and we're like, ooh, ready to rock and roll, squeezing through all of the muscles of your left arm. Let's make our way down to our resting home base as we turn on all of these things. So toenails are pressing down, quads are on, belly is connected, glutes are on. Let's roll the shoulder blades onto the back as we glue our head to our right fingertips. And as that left shoulder rolls onto your back, lift the left arm with it, right? And turn that muscle on, like really, really squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. Once you feel that, lengthen out and up so you're back in that hover. As we inhale, the left arm comes out beside us into the shape of a T. Maybe it keeps moving up into like a YMCA type movement. And then squeeze it back down to your hips. Inhale to reach it out and up. And then exhale down. So you can keep going with that. Options with your right arm for your back is you can always place that hand down on the mat in front of you. Yeah, if that feels like it's way more reasonable, you might feel more work if you do that, right? Because then you're not distracted by fighting things that aren't working in your back. You could also maybe bring your right hand behind your right shoulder, or not behind, sorry, next to your right shoulder as well. Reach it out and up, and then exhale, squeeze. Or right fingertips to your right forehead. This is the more loaded option, yeah? Reach the left arm out and up, and then squeeze it in. So lots of things to keep thinking about, right? We have that left shoulder for sure, but both of your shoulders are trying to draw onto your back. We're trying to widen across our collarbones and lengthen out through the chest. Toenails are connecting down into the floor, quads and glutes are on, and we're trying not to dump into our hip bones, right? We're trying to keep scooping and lengthening the low back towards our pubic bone. Let's go for 2. If you're feeling low back, I recommend putting that right hand down. Open the left arm out to the side in the shape of a T and then pause. Keep connecting into the belly. Keep widening across the collarbones. Shoulder blades on your back, little circle of that left arm for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, other way, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, you're not done. Squeeze the left arm towards your left hip. Little micro bend. And then squeeze and reach the left arm out. Inhale, little baby bend. Exhale, squeeze and reach. Inhale. So this is total mind, body, tone here, yeah? Or if you have hand weights at home, you're always welcome to use them. Inhale, little bend. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, little bend. Exhale, squeeze. We're going for 3. We're going for 2. Squeeze. One more time. Reach it and hold. Pulse that arm up for 8, for 7, for 6. Squeeze it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it all the way down. You can use your hands to help guide you back into a shell stretch or child's pose if you'd like. You could always flip onto your back instead if you prefer that over being belly down. And if you'd even like to add a little walk of the hands over to the right, stretch out through the left side, you can totally do that too. Breathing it in, breathing it out. Eventually bringing those hands back to center, bringing yourself all the way up. And we're gonna lie on our side. So I'm gonna lie on my left side first. It's so funny with different cameras. Sometimes I'm flipped and sometimes I'm not flipped. And I can't always figure out if I'm flipped or not on your screen. So if I'm lying opposite to you, this is my left. Lying on your left side, so you can come all the way down if you'd like, so you can completely rest your head on your hands. I try to avoid this guy where you're sort of like, it's like you're hanging out, because I just don't like what it does for your waist. If you'd like more of a challenge, come up onto your forearm, and it feels like you're side planking here, right? So you can do the whole glute series up on your forearm, widening those collarbones, hugging your forearm in using your left obliques, or you can be lying all the way down. Little bit of housekeeping here. You're going to stick your tailbone out behind you a little bit. It's like you're fanning peacock feathers. You're going to stay long through the top side of the waist. And you're going to find a few breaths in and out here to start to come back into your belly, right? Start to really add in that element of core if you haven't been thinking about it that much already. Digging those heels or toes in, you're going to take a breath in. Top hand to top hip, you push the top hip away and we open up through that top thigh. Now, as you do this, whether your heels or whether your toes, doesn't really matter, but can you make sure that you're squeezing? Keep sticking your bum out behind you and make sure that your hips haven't rolled back. We want to keep them stacked, so you might not have a ton of range, and that's fine. We're going to gently descend the leg. It just sort of taps, top just taps the bottom, and then exhale to lift it up. Inhaling it down. And then exhaling to lift. So a little cheat, if you don't have a wall behind you or you're not super sure if your hips are stacked, check out the relationship between your top knee and your bottom knee. So technically, they should be able to stack on top of each other almost perfectly. It won't be actually perfect, but almost perfectly. And so if you notice that your top knee is back of your bottom knee, chances are either your hip has gone backwards or your hip has collapsed in. So the more you can sort of like scope out what's happening and adjust up at your pelvis,
the more likely it is that you'll be parallel, because I'm not there to like actually help you, right? So that's just like a little personal check-in you can do, which is pretty cool. Notice if your ribs and your chest are starting to hang out in space. We want to draw them in, and we want to keep reaching long through the pelvis. Letting the knee come down just to sort of kiss the bottom and then open it up. Now, depending where you are, keep moving. You could be up here too, right? So just make sure you're not collapsing in your shoulders, that you're staying quite open here. I don't actually know if you can. Oh yeah, you can. So as you're moving here, whether you're up in sort of like a side planky posture or you're down on your arm, if you feel like you want to up the ante for your glutes, you're going to lift your ankles and shins up just a little bit off of the floor and then open from there. And what happens here is that bottom heel has to push up tons to sandwich those heels together. So it just adds another super fun layer. I'm going to come back down onto my arm here because this is where I want to work today so that I can still speak while we're working together. Open it up. We have 3 more here, please. Let's go for 3. Keep checking in with that tail, making sure it hasn't scooped underneath us. For 2, we want to keep radiating it out. 1 more time, you're going to lift up and then hold it. Now take a second. Imagine you had a band around your thighs. You'd have to work like cray-cray to keep that top thigh up against the band. The bottom thigh is pressing down, and regardless of whether your shins and heels are up or not, really squeeze the heels together, yeah? Especially if they're lifted, that bottom one up. You're going to drop your thigh just an inch. It's like you sort of forgot what you were doing, and then exhale, lift it up. Drop it down just an inch. So this is very similar, right, to what we did at the beginning with that hip opener. So this is where it starts to kind of, the mobility helps us connect into our glute. Down a little bit. Are you on fire? I'm on fire. Let's go for 2. Lift it up. 1 more time. Lift it up. Hold it there. Drop your bottom leg. Your top leg reaches out nice and long. Keep your top leg hovered long. So you could still be up here. Yeah, you could still be up on your forearm. You're going to make sure that leg is hip height. You could be down on your arm. We're going to flex that foot and take it forward just a little bit as the leg goes forward. Gentle bend in the knee, stick your bum out, and then squeeze your glute to pull that leg back a little bit. Flex your foot, take that leg forward in space. Point your toes, take that leg back. I'm hoping we're definitely all feeling glute by now, yeah? Flex and take it forward, and as always, you could totally be up like this. Point and take it back. Flex and forward. Point and back. 1 more time. Flex and forward. Point and back. You're going to hold that leg back wherever you are, like you're turning a key in a keyhole. So your leg is on a bit of a backwards diagonal. You're going to lift it up a smidgen, and then you're going to rotate it internally, and then you're going to rotate it externally. So it's just like a little key in a keyhole. Now this actual range is not that big because you're not letting your hips move, right? So it's like you're fanning across your glute fibers here, and then out. Woo, my leg is dropping. Rotate. Can you keep lifting that leg up? Rotate it. We're going for 2. 1 more time. Into external, rotate into internal rotation. And as if there's a little kicker at your heel, you're going to kick that leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7. You've got it. 6, 5. You could also be up here for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring it down and give it a little ha. We're going to avoid stretching right out of the gate. We're going to do our other side first, then move into some abs, and then add a little bit of release in here. Let's flip right away onto our other side. So whatever that means for you on your mat. Oh, I feel that. Come all the way back down. So we're finding that nice long line through the top of the waist. Remember, we want to check in with the top knee to the top hip, so it might not be totally perfect, which is fine, but we definitely don't want like a huge gap between the top kneecap and the bottom kneecap. Long through the waist, belly ribs are on, squeezing through those heels, and then as you exhale, open that top thigh. Take a quick second for your housekeeping, right? It doesn't matter how high it goes. We're challenging keeping the hips where they are. Lowering down just to kiss the bottom knee, and then exhale it up. If you'd like to be up in that side planky position here, you can. It's a lot more work on the neck and shoulders. and your core. So knowing whatever is happening in your body today, right? Honoring that. If you're up on your forearm, we're trying to really push the floor away. We're trying to bring that shoulder onto the back. We're trying to open up through the collarbones and hug the forearm in. Yeah, so it's not a passive place to be at all. It's really quite active. I'm going to come back down here. And lower down. Open it up. And lower it down. And so as we're lifting, we're really, really thinking about moving not necessarily from the kneecap, but really from right in the meaty part of your bum cheek. And so that's why the range doesn't really matter. It's not really about how much you're opening. It's the quality of that opening that's going to give you the exciting in your bum cheek. Now, if you'd like to add that extra spice factor, you can lift up through your ankles and heels. And then now you have to work a little bit harder with that bottom heel. If you did it on the first side, I recommend doing it on your second side to stay even. And you can, of course, be up here doing it too, right? A lot more work to keep your pelvis level. Ooh, is anyone else's bum shaking yet? Mine is totally shaking. If you're feeling like it's getting into like top of the hip and maybe into your back, then you want to consider sticking your bum out more behind you, because that's what's going to take the pressure out of that and make it a little more glutey. And then if that doesn't work, send me a message and we'll figure it out. Lower down, little lift up. 2 more. Gentle lower of the top thigh. Lift it back up. 1 more time. Gentle lower. Lift it up and then hold it. Now freeze. Wherever you want to be there and be there in your like most bestest housekeeping, right? So if you're up on your forearm, you're hugging it and your waist is on. If you're staying down on your arm, you're still long through your waist. Now you're going to drop your top thigh just an inch, like you kind of forgot what you were doing, and then lift it back up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower it down just an inch, and then lift it back up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze down just a little inch. Keep sticking your bum out behind you, yeah, especially as that thigh goes up. Don't let your bum tuck in. Don't think you can see it, but my leg is like totally vibrating. 1 more time, lift it up, hold it here, drop your top thigh, lengthen your leg out nice and long. Keeping your top thigh nice and long, and again, you could be up on your forearm here, yeah, hip height if you can with that leg. Let's flex through the foot, gentle bend in the knee as it starts to pike forward. As your leg goes forward, keep sticking your bum back, and then point your toes, take that leg back on a backward diagonal without losing your torso. Flex through that foot, take it forward, forward diagonal. Point your toe, squeeze your glute hamstring, pull it back. Flex your foot, take it forward. Point, squeeze the glute, take it back. Flex and forward. So again, lots of mind body here, right? We want to think about that smiley part of our bum cheek, and that's what's initiating us as we go back. It's like there's a little puppet string there. 2 more, flex and forward. Point and squeeze it back. 1 more time, flex and forward. I'm on fire. Squeeze it back and then hold. Find the backward diagonal. Find the length through your hip, and then can you lift the leg up a little bit more? Keep the leg exactly where it is. It's being held in space. You're just rotating it internally, and then through parallel external. Rotate it internally, and then externally. And you kind of do have to think about lifting it up as you're rotating in, just so that it doesn't drop. Yeah, we don't want to drop through that glute. We want to keep the leg lifted. If it's getting a little too spicy, bend that knee more, yeah? It's going to help. Let's go for 2. I feel it with you. 1 more time. Rotate to external, rotate to internal. Your foot can be flexed or pointed. Dig up into that heel, little pulses up for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, bring it in. Flip onto your back. You can bring your knees into your chest and just give yourself a little rock side to side. Every time the screen goes dark, I just want to make sure that I haven't lost you. Take a nice big breath in through your nose, knees are into your chest. And exhale it out. Little rock in and rocking it out. And then when you're ready, You're gonna plant those feet down onto your mat. We're gonna find ourselves in a nice neutral pelvic position here. So hip bones and pubic bone are gonna stay level. You can measure that by placing your hands on your pelvis and making sure your heels of your hands are on your hip bones, fingertips are on your pubic bone, and that's a nice flat space to be. Let's let our hands just come down beside us. Let's feel those feet into the floor. We're just gonna really take a moment to harness into our breath here. So inhaling through the nose into the backs and sides of the ribs. And take a breath to just breathe it out. You've already done so much work today, so let's just like totally honor that with a breath out. Inhaling through the nose, and as you inhale, can you expand backwards? Can you expand sideways into your rib cage? And as you exhale through your mouth, it's like you're blowing something away. And notice as you do that your rib cage draws down. We want it to move. We don't want our rib cage to be static. Inhale, it expands through the backs and sides of the ribs. And then exhale it out through the mouth, blow something away. As we're doing that, keep breathing. Your pelvic floor, it's like a sling or like a pancake, pubic bone to coccyx. It's right at the base of your torso, yeah? So it's sort of facing like up towards your belly button. And so as you inhale, we're allowing our pelvic floor to be fairly gentle. And then as we exhale, we want to think about a full disc, yeah? So not like a small blueberry squeeze, like a full, bigger shape, drawing up towards our belly button. Inhale, it draws down and away. And then exhale, it draws up. Inhale, down and away. And exhale, up. And so as you're breathing out, everything is sliding towards your belly button. Last little bit of business, I just want to make sure our belly buttons aren't squeezing really tight at center. We want to think those are wide, yeah? So that was sort of our little like breathy trance moment. Last little thing, if your hips are level and neutral, there's a little ladybug house at your low back, yeah? So it's not pressed into the floor and our glutes are off here. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Keep your head on the floor, just lift your elbows, give yourself a little shaky shake. Keep checking in with that pelvis. You're going to inhale as you look up to the ceiling. And as you do that lovely breath out, let's slide the rib cage down to look between the thighs. Inhale to lengthen back. Keep your head heavy, but don't take a break as you exhale. Slide the rib cage. And it's like you're lifting up and over to look through those thighs. Inhale to lengthen it back. And then exhale to curl. Inhale back. Exhale to curl. So I have a really fun thing I was playing with yesterday for abs today. And it's going to require lots of low belly stability. Inhale down, exhale up. So I just want you to notice as you're doing these first few rounds of curling, if anything funky is happening through your pelvis, if like a hip is drawing up or your low back is scooping to the floor. Now it's not bad for it to scoop to the floor. In fact, we're going to do that together, but it has to be a conscious thing, right? It can't just like be a thing that's happening because then you're not really working your abs. You're just pulling on muscles. We're going for 3. We have that sliding towards the belly button of the upper and the lower parts of the body. For 2. For 1, you're going to curl up and then you're going to hold your curl. So if there's any little adjustments you have to make, feel free to make them. We're still keeping the pelvis nice and level here, yeah? We're still going to make sure the lower body doesn't shift. From your ab curl, can you do a little side bend over to the left? And notice that you don't fall back here, yeah? You're just going to do like a little swoosh over. Find center. So you're back at your ab curl. And then do a little side bend over to the right. And as you do the side bend to the right, make sure your hips don't change. Bring yourself to center, which means that you're not going to go that far. Lift up and over as you do a little side bend to the left. Pull yourself to center, you're lifted, and then side bend over to the right. And I'm actually trying to avoid sliding across my shoulder blades. Little side bend over to the left, shake, 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 back to center, side bend over to the right, back to center. One more time each side. You can also take a look at your knees and notice if your knees do funky things. We want to keep them level. To the right. Find center and then lower down. If you need to do any little windshield wipers, you can. So that is phase 1. If you liked having your feet on the ground, you liked the neutral, you liked that stability, you felt lots of bang for your buck there, please feel free to live there. When you're ready, we're going to bring those hands back behind us. We're going to change our pelvic placement now. So we were in neutral before, so let's start there. Take your breath in, and let's take a round of breath out to just breathe out. And then now we're going to focus without using glutes. Imagine there's like a little marble at your pubic bone. You're breathing in. And as you breathe out, you're scooping your low back towards the floor so that marble rolls in towards your belly button. Let's release that inhale so we can feel our neutral again. And as you exhale, it's like your hip bones are trying to slide down and backwards to meet your back ribs. But keep your belly wide. Inhale to lengthen back through neutral. Exhale to scoop it out. Drawing the ribs in again, trying to think wide across the front of the belly as you do this. One more time, inhale. Remember, there's no glutes here. This is all work through your transverse. Exhale, and your obliques as well. You're going to keep scooping the belly. So as much as you can, remember, you're trying to scoop and flatten it out. Hands are going to come behind your head. Now, before we lift our head, let's explore those feet. Take your breath in, and as you breathe out, can you roll up to your toes? Maybe your legs squeeze together. Notice if you lost that scoop from the belly. Keep scooping, and then can you maybe lift your toes to hover off of the floor? Maybe that feels fabulous, and they lift all the way up into a tabletop. But wherever you are, you're keeping the scoop of your belly. Keep your legs wherever makes sense for you. Take your breath in, you look up at the ceiling. As you exhale out, nod your chin, curl up, and invite that ab curl again, but this time you're hollow, hollow, hollow through your bellies. Inhale to lengthen back in space. Exhale, nod your chin, curl up. I'm going to put my toes down because I'm never going to be able to talk all the way through this if I keep my legs up. Inhale to lengthen up towards the ceiling with your gaze, and then exhale, there's that little chin knot. So we want to make sure we're actually curling because our thoracic spine is moving and because our rectus abdominis is shortening in versus cranking on our necks, yeah? So keep your head nice and heavy in your hands. If you have an advanced practice, you're always welcome to bring the hands down, but it's generally more work on the neck. Exhale to curl. We're going for 3. We're going for 2. Even as you lengthen, try not to lose that scoop of the low belly. Every time you exhale, we're adding on to our tension. Last one here. Curl it up. Now, wherever you are, whether your legs are lifted or not or down, you're going to take your side bend over to the left. Keep scooping, keep scooping, keep scooping. And then back to center. You're up, though. Your shoulder blades are not resting on the floor. You're curled. Take your side bend over to the right. And then back to center. Side bend over to the left, back to center, side bend to the right. I'm shaking. Over to the left. Notice that your hips are not moving here. Yeah, you're scooping so much to the right. One more time, over to the left. Through center, over to the right. Bring it down, lower down, take a break. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale it out through your mouth. Now, if you feel like that's where you'd like to leave your ab work today, you are welcome to leave it there. If you'd like to flip yourself over and come to a version of a plank with me, you can. We're going to do like a 30-second to 1 minute, a little bit of a power plank moment here. So you can come onto forearms if you would like to. You can be forearms and lift it up. It's a little bit trickier if your knees are down. So if you're looking to change the stability, I would recommend if you can on your forearms, but you'll see where we're going. I'm going to come up so you have a really clear version of what's happening, and then I will show you mods. So wherever you are, take a second, push the floor away, draw your arms wide away from each other, and then hug heels of your hands down. If you're finding your full plank, you're in your full plank, your glutes are on. So basically what we're going to be doing is taking that sort of like side bendy shape, but to our legs. So your right knee is going to draw in as your right hip, as your hips twist to the left. You're going to scoop the left knee towards your left elbow, around center towards your right elbow, and then it comes back to center. You're going to switch your legs. So your left knee comes into center. We twist our hips to the right. The left knee scoops up towards your right elbow, around center to your left elbow, and then back to center, yeah? You could do this from forearms as well. So you have a little bit of a scoop here, and then twist it around. Now, if you want to stay on your knees, you're just going to go for the outside. Goes to the outside and then in, and then to the outside and in. So you're still getting a little more extra obliqueness, but you're doing it in a different way. So pick which version if you're, I'm hoping everybody's moving. right? You're either going for that around the world twist on your hands or on your forearms, or you're on your knees in some capacity and you're squeezing to the outside. Wherever you are, can you please do 2 more to each side, your own time, 2 more, either all the way around or to the outsides of your elbows. And once you've done that, make your way all the way down into a little shell stretch. I can't see you, so I'm gonna hopefully time this properly so that we all arrive in your shell stretch. Take your breath in. Take your breath out. We're gonna walk ourselves all the way up and then very, very gentle. So maybe you just bring your hands to your hips and lengthen up. But if you can, walk your hands back and lengthen that chest up. It's just gonna give you a bit of a stretch through the belly and across the shoulders. Fingertips can be facing forward if you'd like. Keep your chin drawing down to keep your neck free. And then gently just walk yourself all the way up. Let's bring ourselves to a seat. So if you'd like to cross your right foot in front of your left, you're gonna sit up nice and tall, nod your chin, walk yourself forward, and then walk your hands over to the left. And I'm hoping with that you feel a stretch down through the right side body and into the right bum. If you'd like to amplify that, you're gonna stack your right knee on top of your, she says, and then it's like, stack your right thigh on top of your left, and that'll give you a little bit more. Taking a breath in, letting your breath be nice and calm now. And then keep walking your hands over to the left. Plant your left hand on the floor, and we're gonna rotate ourselves up into a side bend here, and then come all the way up. Switch your legs the other way, so left leg is in front of the right, nodding your chin in towards your chest, walking yourself all the way down. And then walking your hands over to the right. And again, I hope you feel as you go to the right, the work of release is happening down the left side. Maybe you stack 90-90, the left foot on top of the right. Or any version of this, right? Like you could take a figure 4 if you prefer. Again, it's your practice. So whatever's gonna provide you with what you need. Take your hands, keep walking them over to the right until your right hand finds the floor next to your right hip. Rotate your body sideways, so you're in a bit of a side bend. Bring yourself all the way up as you inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale down, give yourself a squeeze. As always, thank you so much for I was gonna say having me here online virtually with you. It's always a pleasure. And I hope there was something there that you were like, that was kind of fun. You're all done though. Have a great rest of your day.